Hello, Florida friends. This is Rich at Fluoro 7 with another episode of, I don't know, beach stuff. Today, first 5 minutes, we're going to be on the ground showing you just some observations I had that are north of the Dunlawton on-ramp, which incidentally is now open. You're going to see that in a few. So I'm going to show a few sites on the ground for about 5 minutes. Then we take to the drone. We get some good drone footage around Sunglow Pier, headed north looking at those properties, and then I head up to the Dunlawton ramp, which is open, but only accessible to foot traffic at the time of day that I went. This video was shot on the 23rd at about 4:45. I think low tide was 3:45. No, I was out, about an hour out. So that's what you're looking at here. You saw that entryway. That's how you walk down to the beach right now, or in my case, take my bike. It's absolutely treacherous. Anyway, this video is also going to cover feedback that I got from the state and the county about the beach restoration. A lot of people have been asking about that. I made some assumptions. I was very, very incorrect. So I'm going to share portions of the letter that are pertinent to the future of Daytona Beach Shores, or just Volusia County beaches that we're talking about here. So the view that you're looking at right now, this is just walking on the beach and the things that you see. There is no barrier to keep you back from any of this. I grew up in Southern California, and it's kind of a nanny state. They would have this beach shut down in perpetuity. Here in Florida, it's more of a, ride at your own risk type of deal. Hey, there's my e-bike. Love riding that thing up and down the beach. And actually, looking at this view, we have quite a bit of beach right now, so that's not bad. Yeah, so I'm clipping around here, just showing you a couple of the sites that I saw. This is typical riding up and down Daytona Beach Shores right now. Ride at your own risk, operate at your own risk, keep your kids off of the dangerous areas. Kind of interesting. In California, again, they would have shut this stuff down. During the pandemic, California actually took beach sand and filled in all the skate parks so kids couldn't get out and exercise. Here in Florida, people were freaking out because we had people on beaches, naturally social distancing. I don't get into any type of politics in my YouTube stuff, but just a big contrast relative to the way I grew up and how life is here in Florida. So I'm going to get into this letter that the county sent me. I bounced around. I made several phone calls. I'm curious, when's the beach going to be backfilled with sand? Now I know that the county owns the beaches. There's a city component as well. There's a federal component. So I started off with Daytona Beach Shores City Hall, talked to those folks for a few. They gave me some good information. Everybody's aware of what's going on. Nice people at all levels of government that I spoke with. Another reason I love living in Florida. You go to the DMV or go to any government service, they just take care of you. Professionals, people dedicated to doing their job. They passed me on to wetlands and someone else. I spoke to another nice lady. I actually got a hold of the lady who's responsible for the programs of maintaining safety for the beach turtles. Beach turtles. I don't know, ocean turtles. The big turtles that come on the beach and lay eggs. And she's in charge of the manatee program as well. Really nice lady, dedicated to her business. And she got me to someone else, and they got me to someone else. And ultimately, I got to the desk of, scrolling through a document that I have to read while I'm on with you today, Jessica Fentress. And her title is, I don't have her title in front of me. Volusia County Beaches. She's coastal shoreline. She's the county component of that. And the public affairs office wrote me a letter back, really well thought out. I spoke with the public affairs officer as well. All right, here we go. I've edited this down a little bit because some of it's fluff and some of it's just not pertinent. And I'll take breaks. The damages to county-managed beach property and access points alone are estimated at over $31 million. However, some costs are not known at this time because there is not a one-size-fits-all approach to complete coastal recovery, and consideration of temporary and permanent initiatives are still being explored by the multiple agencies involved. Now, I'm going to stop right there. I had presumed that they would simply get a bunch of sand or pump a bunch of slurry out of the ocean and get our sand back and have these beaches open and happy by spring break. That's not the case. Not at all. Okay, so now this video is going to morph into the next day, which is today, the day I'm recording, the 24th of January, 2023. And it's going to go to Sunglow Pier. You're going to see some updates there. Here we go. You're going to see Sunglow Pier. There's work going on there, bunch of updates if you watch my previous videos. And then I moved to another vantage point down by the Dunlawton access point later in the video. And I show some before and afters a month ago what some properties look like and what they look like now. And I put kind of a weird transition in there so you'll be able to tell that I'm doing a little time warp. So yeah, I thought these beaches would be fixed. They're not. I wondered how much sand was lost. They tell us in this letter. I wondered what they're going to do. They don't know either, and they tell us that in this letter. And it's important to note, I have friends who lived here in the 70s, 80s, and they told me there was a dune system in the past, and it was just a different type of beach, and it sounded really cool. Well, it sounds like we might be going back to something like that. They referred me to a couple of articles. I watched a YouTube video of some scientists talking about how to operate a beach and how the Carolinas have done it. Some really cool ideas. So I think what we are going to see in the future is going to be something vastly different than 2022 Volusia beaches, which would be a welcome change. You know, I like the big open space. Sounds like there might be more of that with more features. So back to the letter. In regard to a timeline for beach restoration, back out of the letter, that's my question. When's the beach going to be restored? In regard to a timeline for beach restoration, Volusia County's Coastal Division Director Jessica Fentress said it best after assessing the coastal damage of Hurricane Ian. Quote, "When you get a storm like this, you look into the future. You don't look into the future for what we're going to do next week. You look into the future for what we're going to do in the next decade, what we're going to do in the next 5 decades." Unquote. It's still too early to give a detailed timeline for completing all the repairs. However, work has already commenced on projects to coastal assets to restore access to the beach. This is going to take time, and we respectfully ask residents and visitors for their patience. Break out of that for a minute. Ooh, look at that. Sunglow Pier, underlayment, flooring, framing, looking good. Yeah, Krabby Joe's is coming back. By the way, I compared before and after pictures today, looking at Google Maps or Google Earth. We lost a whole 25% of this pier. So it used to go 25% further than the point that you're seeing right now. I thought it was a little bit less, about 25% of the totality of the pier. So back to the letter. They don't have a plan yet, and that might be good. They're going to come up with a plan that's sustainable for the long term, that's good for people, that's good for sea life, that's, good overall for the area. Greedily, we all might want our beaches back and pristine and perfect the way they were in an instant, but that's just not going to happen. And I think that's okay. They're going to do it. They're going to do it right, and it'll be better than ever. So let's get into some money here. Again, earlier I mentioned the damages to county-maintained beach property and access points. That'd be the parks, the public access points where you can drive on, walk on, that type of thing, is $31 million. I remember the governor's office had given money, like emergency, get these people some cash. Back to the letter. As you may already be aware, the governor's office initially set aside $20 million to be appropriated by the FDEP, Florida Department of Environmental Protection, for emergency sand placement, in which we do know that $5 million will be dispersed to Volusia County. I kind of thought it was $20 million for Volusia, but it's $5 million for Volusia. The county's coastal and environmental management staff are actively communicating with state officials to explore the most optimal and cost-effective solutions, such as potential, temporary, shoreline stabilization projects and exploring beach sand renourishment projects. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Also sounds like we're going to need a lot more money. Now, I didn't only get this letter, I spoke with people as well, and they're going to have to get money from everywhere. So, next paragraph of their letter. And again, I edited this down to remove a little bit of the fluff. Volusia County staff is also actively working with federal and state regulatory agencies such as USACE, FEMA, FDEP, and FDEM to acquire funding. And of course, a phone call goes off. We were trying to record a video. I'm going to leave that in. Whatever. Volusia County staff's trying to get money from all these, work with the regulatory issues with all these agencies to acquire funding for beach sand placement and sand renourishment projects. Unfortunately, these projects do not happen quickly. and require engineering studies and permits that can sometimes take years to acquire. However, the county is dedicated to pursuing all avenues available to ensure the restoration of our beaches for our residents and visitors. Good. Any sand that is brought onto county beaches must be beach compatible sand and approved by the county's Environmental Management Division and must meet the DEP beach sand standards. All right, here's another place I was wrong. I was in the United States Navy. I've seen dredging. I've seen all sorts of stuff moved around. My thought was the sand's out there in the water. You could just take a bunch of, dredges and pump the slurry up onto the beaches and let it dry out and have a bunch of tractors move it around. That's not the case at all. Florida actually has, look at that damage. Actually get a better look at it this time of this video. Yeah, and I got to look this property up again. I was debating with my wife whether or not this was a full-time residential or a rental space. I'll look it up. In fact, I kind of intended to name all the properties as we went through, but I've done that in previous videos. If you're that interested, you can look them up. I thought they would just pump all that slurry back up onto the beach, backfill the sand, fix the sand, groom it. No. They're taking a much longer view at this. They're going to do something different. And that sand has to come from one of 3 different sand plants. They probably sterilize it, check the contents of it, make sure it's environmentally friendly, and that's fine. You don't want any junk in the sand that's going to be harmful to human beings or obviously in the environment or the sea animals. So that's going to be what it's going to be. Now, back to the video. There's the park. That county-built seawall, county-built access, stood right up. Good job, guys. Yeah, when I took my bike ride up the beach the day before, I saw the same thing. The newer properties sustain just fine. The older properties, not so good. All right. Now, I have a place at the Grand Coquina where, by the way, my drone footage today, not so good. The wind was terrible. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Rich, your drone footage today sucks. You can see the trees, and once I got up some elevation, it was blowing pretty hard. But I did my best. I'm a little out of practice, too. Boy, looking at some of these properties, you're going to see a big contrast coming up here in a few minutes. Some properties have had a lot done. Some properties have not had a lot done. And there's a guy with a rake there and a little bobcat trying to push dirt around. Nope. You guys look okay here, Surfside Club. Maybe not. Actually, I'm going to get some elevation in this video. You're going to see they did have some damage and they dug out behind the seawall. And yeah, they're doing something back there. And I see, CMU, they're shoring up. They obviously had an issue. The pool had an issue before, too, because I saw the water level was down and it indicative there was a crack somewhere. That dirt's probably just incidental that's in the pool right there. Nice property, though. All right. Beach access. That looks like it could be driven on. Yeah. Oh, there's a fence up. Yeah, I think they might let you on that one. This property, I looked up the name earlier. Forgive me. I don't remember it. But look at all those rocks they put out there. Now, thinking about this, that was probably a great idea. They're going to build a seawall again eventually, but you have to have backfill. But I live here in Florida, and I scratched my head. Where do all those rocks come from? Someone's going to answer in the comments. I've seen various construction techniques here. That might be rock from the ocean. Cool stuff. Private residence. They took a pretty bad hit there. The pool's okay. Just the yard beyond that taking some damage. Back to the letter. This is the last paragraph. Unlike the damage from the storms, ultimately, the damage from the storms was unprecedented for Volusia County, and the recovery process is going to take some time. We were asking residents to give us grace as we endeavor through the process. We are doing our best to replenish and restore our beaches as quickly as possible. Volusia County is home to 47 miles of coastline. I didn't know that. In which 16 driving ramps were damaged and 128 out of 141 walkovers were damaged. That's the story, and that's the problem. Massive damages relative to what we have here. And go ahead in the comments section. Why should taxpayers, blah, blah, blah. Taxpayers own this. This is public beaches. They're going to fix it. Look at that. You're allowed to ride in this place. I ride my bike up and down this beach, and it's crazy. The obstacles that are left over. It is what it is. You can drive on this beach now. When that tide gets lower, you can absolutely drive on this beach. Florida, ride or die, I guess. All right, so this is going to conclude the first part of the video. Debating whether or not if I have any more words to use or if I just throw some music on that half the viewers hate. Some love it, some hate it. By the way, I use Adobe Premiere Elements, and they have a soundtrack feature that lets you pick one of like 40 different soundtracks, and it kind of auto formats it to whatever your timeline is. It's suitable. I don't spend much money on these videos. I enjoy putting them out. I actually really enjoy people watch. Hey, there's me. There's me. There's my bike. Hey, hi viewers. I enjoy doing these videos, putting them out, and seeing people's feedback. There is a component of public information getting out that people absolutely need to have. So yeah, keep watching. The next part of the video covers most of the major properties that I've covered previously. And again, you're going to see a couple of the transitions I use, show the before and after, and what's been done, what hasn't been done. Some properties are doing much better than others. So keep an eye out on that. Anyway, this is Rich, Fluoro7. Appreciate your likes, comments, subscribe, share, whatever the heck you do. Here we go. Second part of the video, shot from Dunlawton Excess. Yes. So this is famous on the Weather Channel for about 5 minutes. Anyway, y'all, take care. Hope you enjoy the video. Bye now.